Hello and welcome to episode 334 of the video show. And we are live on Facebook, on LinkedIn, and on YouTube. So if you're watching this, don't forget to ask me questions throughout the show. And if you're watching this afterwards, put some comments in and I will try to answer them in a future show. But today we are talking about Zoom calls and video conferencing software, and how I used Zoom before the pandemic, how I'm using it now, and how it will be used in the future, not just by me, but by loads of other people watching it as well. So don't forget, you can watch over previous episodes of the video show over on my website, redbookproductions.co.uk/the-video-show. Loads of episodes on there. It's well worth watching if you've got questions about video. And if there's a question that I haven't answered yet, put it in the comments and I'll be very, very happy to answer. So as I said, today, we're going to be talking about Zoom. So I've got a few questions set up. I also asked people a question on Facebook and LinkedIn about whether they're going to continue to use Zoom as their main source of hosting meetings over in-person meetings after the restrictions end. And I've got some very interesting answers that we're going to go through in this episode as well. So first question that I want to talk about today is, how did I use Zoom pre-pandemic? So I think I used Zoom fairly regularly. I didn't have the paid for version or anything because I didn't have meetings that really went over 40 minutes. But I did use it regularly for meetings, but I would have a lot of face-to-face meetings as well. Mostly people would come here or people would travel. But I think it's probably split between 50% Zoom, 50% face-to-face. But then how did I use Zoom now over the past year? So obviously it's been possible to sort of meet people in person for most of the last year. So I'd say pretty much 100% of my meetings have taken place over Zoom. It's been very easy to create, to have meetings very quickly and easily. So if you want to arrange a meeting, you don't have to worry about travel or anything like that. It's just book a meeting, and then the meeting seems to be over a little bit quicker than what it would be in real life, because you get to the point, you talk about what you want to talk about, then it's over, and you can go on to your next thing, and then you can start what you were doing again. So it's been good for that. I upgraded to the paid version of Zoom within a month of the pandemic because it's just good to have that paid for version where you don't have to worry about starting another meeting. You can just sort of carry on and carry on. So if you have a long Zoom meeting, it's a bit better. It is better. You can like have rooms and stuff like that. You can what other stuff can you do? You can live stream straight from Zoom. Not that I've done that, but yeah, I think I've used Zoom to its maximum. I've been to networking meetings on Zoom. Obviously, there's been Zoom quizzes over the past year. I've even directed videos over Zoom, and a lot of the guests that you see on the video show, on live streaming, on the Mob show, and on other shows that I produce as well, those guests come through and we record all the conversations via Zoom. We use StreamYard as well to record stuff as well. But I'd say I'll continue to do that after the pandemic and after the restrictions have ended as well. What I've noticed as well, also in terms of like video calls in general, is that I don't really do many voice calls anymore. Unless I'm sort of walking somewhere and I don't really want to use up too much data on my phone. But if I'm at home or if I'm in the office and I'm calling someone, it would probably be using video rather than using voice calls, just because it's nice to see someone's face, and you haven't seen it. People, like, you don't get to see many people at the moment. And also noticed my parents, who are late 50s, early 60s, they've scheduled regular video calls with friends. They have a weekly Zoom quiz every Saturday night. And they said to me the other night, "Oh, can't talk to you for too long because we've got a call with some of our friends," and it was a video call. So it's just nice to see that they're sort of doing it as well. So it's everyone, I think, is sort of taking up the chance to do video calls over like normal voice calls. It's a bit more of an event, I think. Also, like, there's been funny Zoom moments over the past year with that cat video where the guy said I'm not a cat, and the Jackie Weaver video. That's funny as well. So yeah, I think Zoom and sort of or video conferencing software has taken up quite a large part of our lives, and I think it will continue to do so as well. Which brings me on to what I want to talk about, and that was the poll results. So I asked people on Facebook in a franchise mastermind group. So these are all franchisors. And I also asked my general LinkedIn following the following question: will you use Zoom or other video conferencing software over face-to-face meetings post-pandemic? So let's look at what the franchise mastermind people said first. This is the screen we want. Sorry about the delay, ladies and gentlemen. So let's just maximize this. So I said, will you use Zoom or other video conferencing software over face-to-face meetings post-pandemic? Franchisors resoundingly said 21 votes, yes. 0 said no, and 0 said don't know. Some of the comments were interesting as well. Judy Clabby, we've used Zoom for prospective franchise candidate meetings and for internal comms since 2016. So it's business as usual for us with a sprinkling of face-to-face meetups. Same thing with Penny Holbrook. We use Zoom to half train a new franchisee, as well as using Zoom for the first interview. They will come up for a practical face-to-face meeting in April. Definitely the way forward, and we'll use that process in the future. Angela Sterling already did it before the pandemic since 2011. Jenny Dunman, I will definitely be doing a bit of both, but she does love a coffee and wine meeting. So definitely creates more personal time and good for the environment. Samantha Acton as well. So it's worth thinking about this kind of stuff as well in terms of environmental factors, time-saving factors. I think for me, it's a big time saver. So I think I'll continue to do that mostly as well. Then I asked LinkedIn the same thing. I said, will you continue to use Zoom or other video conferencing software over face-to-face meetings post-pandemic? 84% people out of 32 votes said yes, and 16% people said no. And then some of the comments. So Greg Frisbee is going to use it in conjunction with face-to-face meetings. It's nice to have face-to-face meetings, and they hold so much more power. And then Catherine Warlow, I will avoid unnecessary trips into cities, and if it can be done over Zoom. I think that's an interesting question and interesting results from these polls. So overall on LinkedIn, it was 84% yes, 16% no, and then 100% over on the franchise mastermind group. So that's some big results. I think it's a resounding yes. People will continue to use Zoom over face-to-face meetings. And I think I will be no different. I think in terms of podcast recording, I will continue to use Zoom over face-to-face. It just saves so much more time of people coming in and spending a lot of their time if they're recording. It's just so much easier to set up and so much easier to move if one person can't make it. And then the quality is still there as well. Like the video quality here, the sound quality here is really, really good. If you can get that quality and not have to travel and not have to worry about that kind of stuff, it's going to save you a hell of a lot of time. And it also helps if I've got guests in the USA or in Europe or in Australia or anything like that. It just saves so much more time. You wouldn't even get those guests on a podcast otherwise. And then I will continue to shoot some of these videos using StreamYard. And obviously, I think I'll continue to have video calls over sort of voice calls with friends and family as well. So, thank you for that. That's that episode of the video show done. Don't forget, you can watch this and other episodes over on my website, redbookproductions.co.uk/the-video-show. If you've got any other questions about Zoom or video conferencing software or any video questions in general, put in the comments below. I'll be very, very happy to answer. Thank you so much for watching. If this video has been interesting or has made you think a little bit, don't forget to like or share it. And then if you've got a question, comment below. I will answer it. I think I've said that already. Anyway, that's it for this episode. I'll be back next week. Have a great Easter, 4-day weekend. Have a great time. And I'll see you next time, next week, back on a Friday next week. See you then.